Well, welcome to the Connect Show, West Texas. Happy Saturday, ladies.
Happy Saturday.
So glad to see you today. Of course, I'm here with my business besties, Shauna Garcia and Christy Joe Lightfoot. How's the first Saturday in December looking for you two?
Great. It's lovely, and it's the only weekend of the month with no travel, so it's beautiful.
Yes, Christy Joe, for you?
It's looking good, and I'm so excited for Christmas and 2021.
Amen. I think we are all looking forward to 2021. And as we kick off this new month and new you, we are bringing to the table girl bosses that have made their mark in the industry and, of course, right here in our community. And today we talk goal setting and mindset. And I'm excited to bring in today with us the Victoria Printz. Coming to the show. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning, ladies.
So happy to have you here, Victoria, to the show. Queen V, or VP, as we call you here in Midland, Texas. So good morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's an honor to have you today. You bring so much wisdom, Victoria, and experience to the table. And that is what success is all about. So for Saturdays, that's what it is. For 25 years, VP, you've been at the top, selling more than $1.4 billion in real estate, which averages out to about $115 million in real estate per year. And you've carried the label of Midland's career leader since 1998. So when we learned you actually sold your profitable, amazing business that you built for several years, we were really, I think, all shocked. Is it still shocking to you today that you sold your business? And was that always, to some extent, a part of your bigger plan?
Well, I think it's always a bigger plan to see what the next step is. But it is a little bit shocking. I've had offers over the years and nothing felt quite right. And I think under Carrie's leadership, the team will do and is doing tremendously well. And I'm just proud that she can carry on in the manner I hope it started out to be.
Victoria, well, I think a lot of us would say that you're pretty incredible, and you have to be admired because you have stayed at the top. What would you say that has enabled you to do that above other local lenders? And of course, there's other teams in the Basin as well, and your team has been able to share that success with you over the years. Was that exactly what you envisioned? And what would you tell the rest of girl bosses that are trying to get to that level to do?
Well, I think there's one secret, and the secret is that there's no secret. It's follow up, follow up, follow up. If you start the day with anticipation and expectation, you won't be surprised when you get there. So I think having clear goals is super important, knowing exactly what you want, and then setting those guidelines, those steps to see how you're going to get there. Not just that you want to be there, but how are you going to achieve those goals?
I'd agree. And, there's so much when it comes to business in general. You've been leading teams and building women, and it's what you've done for years. And now there are several of your mentees that are bringing in 6 and 7 figures and now own their own empires. When you look back, did you see their potential all along? Or were you surprised that some of your women that you've coached have been able to build what they've built today?
Not really surprised. I think it is my privilege and blessing to have worked and mentored those women, and I'm very proud of their success. It's been a blessing. As far as did I know it right away, when I first started building teams several years ago, I would hire people that were very similar to myself. We all had great ideas, but nobody could plug in the fax machine in those days. So it was, some trial and error and some training. I did a lot of training myself and did a lot of, we don't call it testing, we call it indexing, to make sure I wasn't placing people in a position that wasn't their natural strengths and abilities. So I think if you can first determine what another individual's strengths and abilities are, you can help them better achieve their goals. Do they like risk? Do they like, are they commission person, a risk taker? Do they like security? And getting the right people in the right positions has been, I think, a big key to building a successful team, and realizing that every position is important.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I love that, Victoria. Well, I'm so excited to learn from you today. I know, of course, my co-hosts are as well. And for the very first time, you at home can now work one-on-one with Miss Victoria. And so coming up next, you don't want to miss it. We are talking how you can build your empire as we look to 2021. But first, here's this week's Minute with Marcy.
Welcome to this week's Minute with Marcy. At our facility, MC Aesthetics and BRL Salon, we pride ourselves on staying ahead of the curve and being cutting edge so that we can bring things to West Texas that we previously had to travel to a larger city. We have an M-Sculpt machine. We have a Neogen laser device here. So we have those advanced techniques that you're looking for right here in the Permian Basin. We are also the educational hub for all things medical aesthetics and hand-tied hair extensions. We want to keep you guys ahead of the curve, not just as patients, but as providers in West Texas. So we offer those advanced techniques. We do offer classes quarterly, sometimes even monthly, depending on demand. Follow our Instagram pages to stay up to date on what is coming soon. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Cowan, and I'm going to be giving you tips each week when it comes to the best photography experience. Now, I know it's hard to believe, but my Christmas sessions sell out within minutes each year. Last year, they sold out within 3 minutes. People crash the servers and they blow up the phones, and it's always really, really exciting each year when it comes to holiday portraits. But I know not everybody can get in to see a professional photographer this year, because I know a lot of us are booked. So here, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how you can get the perfect shot for your family photo this year. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your set is well lit and it's set up for the occasion. If you're like in your living room or in the front yard or something, just take away from the clutter and things that don't belong there, like toys and things like that. In front of the Christmas tree is always nice. If you have a nice mantle or fireplace, just make sure that it's appropriate for the occasion. Also, what I'd like to do is talk about clothes. So when you are coordinating with your family's outfits, you want to make sure that's also appropriate for the occasion. So Christmas colors, traditionally, they never go out of style. So you got red and green and gold and whites and blacks and things like that. So you don't want, Aunt Sue to show up in a bright orange sweater when it comes to your Christmas photo. So make sure that everybody is coordinated, everyone is clean, and that the colors are appropriate for the occasion. I would also say stay away from busy patterns and busy logos. That takes away from your portrait, and we want to concentrate on your smiling, beautiful faces, not what's all over your clothes. So try to keep it simple. Try to keep it but festive as well with the colors. And then also, what's a really big help is to have someone there to help you, get your child's attention. So I know if you've got dog like Fido or young kids or things like that, it's always good to have a friend or somebody to help you grab your child's attention. So squeaky toys, being a monkey, whatever you need to do to get their attention, because traditionally we like it when everyone's looking at the camera and smiling and, being happy. So it's going to be so much easier if you have somebody there to help you.
Well, welcome back to the show, West Texas. So several of the girl bosses we see today with their own teams are now bringing in 6- and 7-figure incomes from the real estate world after being groomed by the one and only Victoria Printz. And she is with us today. So welcome back to the show, Victoria. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, I'm so happy to be visiting with you and just, talking about bossing. Saturdays for us are all about success. So we always love to talk to women that have done it. And Laura Gamage, Jeaneen Pruitt, those are just two successful real estate women that come to mind locally. There are several. When you started working with those women, did you see the magic from the beginning? Did you envision these two to turn into these, $1 million selling women? And when we look at success in general, how do we spot those that are going to get to the next dimension when we're building our own teams?
Well, I think it takes a little bit of research. I would love to say I was just totally amazed from the first moment on, but actually, as I progressed through the years, I did a lot of not testing, but a little bit of research, first of all, to be sure people were fitting into the right place. Am I surprised that those women you've mentioned and others have been successful? Not at all. If I've done my job correctly
Yes.
to help women be the best they can be, at some point they will leave me. So that's a good thing. That's a blessing that they have progressed to the point that they can do, want to do it bigger and better, or whatever the goal is. And I'm incredibly proud of many of the women in this community and how they have worked well. So it was always a team effort.
Right. Well, and, Victoria, I think any of those women would say how much they learned from you. And I think a strong leader does encourage those people to grow and expand and encourage that growth. One thing you mentioned, and building a team it sounds easy, but in theory, it's really not. And it's really about finding the strengths that each team member has and placing them in the right spot. Like you said, each position is so important, and it's every spoke of a wheel. That wheel's going to break if the spokes aren't in the right spot. So what did you do as a team leader to decide, maybe, you know what, I know I hired you for this, but I really feel like your strengths and you're going to benefit if I think we do this differently? How do you decide where those people fit on the team?
Well, before I would even bring anybody onto the team, I did quite a bit of testing. I used Colby at the main one, Colby indexing, and that would help me know what their natural abilities were, not personality, but just natural abilities. For example, I am a 1 on Fact Finder, but a 9 on Quick Start. That's my decision making. So I make all decisions quickly without a lot of facts. Works well most of the time. Occasionally, we won't talk about the occasional moments. but if I am also a risk taker, I thrive on that. So the commission structure for me and having the responsibility of owning a business was exciting and invigorating. I found that sometimes before I started doing my research, before bringing anybody on the team, if I had somebody that was a 9 on Fact Finder and a 2 on follow through, that might impede their journey. So I wouldn't be doing them any service by putting them in that position. Now, does that mean if you want to be a real estate agent and you're not naturally inclined to be quick start, follow through, that it's not going to work? No, it just means you've got to work differently.
Right.
You have now added consulting to your resume. And for the first time, realtors across the Basin can learn and train with you by the hour, which I think is just so amazing. Real estate companies can hire you for consulting and coaching their teams as well. But you don't have to be in real estate to hire Victoria Printz for consulting. And you are clearly a master marketer and team builder. Can you share some of the genres that you are focusing on with consulting and coaching?
Really, in 2020, with us so stay in place and less mixing and mingling on the street, I think it's important to reach out to anybody that wants to clearly figure out what they want to do. So therefore, what are their goals? And then set up steps to meet those goals. Success doesn't just happen because you dream it one day. You also have to put a plan in place to get there. So it may look easy on the outside, but I've said many times, for every hour I stand in my Jimmy Choo shoes, there have been 10 hours at the office in my dollar bin slippers.
That part, Miss Victoria. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, well, it's the truth. There's always a lot of behind the scenes work in order to look like a swan on the surface and you're a duck on the underneath.
One of my favorite things that you've said, and I've got to write that down too, because I love me some Victoria Printz. And just in general, before I forget, I do have ADD, but you said, I could be a big fish in a big pond, or I can be a big fish in a small pond. And I just love just your mindset on that, because we can shine wherever we are, right? You don't have to go to Dallas to shine. You don't have to go to Austin.
Right.
You can shine right where you are, no matter how big the pond. I love that about you. But your just ability to just not be afraid to put yourself out there.
For every person, they probably know numerous agents. So they may not be a buyer or seller, but everybody knows somebody that's buying and selling a house. So how do you become the name that is remembered spur of the moment when somebody says, do you have any recommendations? A lot of that is recognition. Mm-hmm. So the billboards, the magazine ads, two sides to every story. When you put yourself on a billboard and all over magazines, everybody feels that they know you. So that's great, because when they think of real estate, you want them to remember your name. On the other hand, there are always two sides to every story, and it really depends on what are those goals. Again, it's always being super clear on where you want to go. You're not going to know when you arrive if you don't know where you're headed and how you got there.
That's right. Victoria, I think you are very well known as a goal setter, marketing, and of course, real estate. And those are three areas that you've mastered over the years, and people have watched you do that. What do you want people to know when it comes to working one-on-one with you?
That we just need to spend some time. It doesn't have to be a lengthy process. It can be very defined. Again, I feel like I'm saying the same thing, not meaning to be repetitive, but deciding where you really want to be, and then deciding what your plan is to get there is so important. And that may take an hour, that may take a few hours. It's different for different people. Not everybody knows exactly where they want to be a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now. And I think with goals also, it's great to have goals, but as soon as you reach your goal, it's probably going to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So goals are constantly changing as well. And I think being honest with yourself and having somebody that you can bounce things off of and say, well, is that really, do you really want to be a public person and all that entails? Or do you really want to make a decent living and have more family time? There are always several things to consider.
Yeah.
Victoria, how can people reach you today and hire you for an hour for consulting or more?
I'm pretty easy to find. My cell number has been the same cell number for years, and people say, how can we find you? I'm like, just call me. I answer calls and text messages. My email is on the screen, so I'm pretty good about following through.
We are going to take a quick break. We're so excited because coming up next, we have Emily Chesnut. She is talking interior design.
Welcome to the Connect Network, where we bring you girl bosses month after month after month at our masterminds. If you are ready to expand your circle, join the Connect Network's membership today.
Hey, it's your girl, Kita Williams, and most of you already know me as a celebrity publicist and a brand architect to some of your favorite stars. I'm actually so happy to be right here with you guys to share with you how to build your empire and your brand, just like the celebs that you see me working with every day. But I'm going to talk about how to do that. First and foremost, it's all about bulldozing your brand. And you might ask me, what does that mean? Yep. Bulldoze your brand. You got to move that clutter out. You got to get rid of all of that debris in order to lay your foundation. So some things have got to go. So if you're going to be bulldozing your brand, what that means is this: you got to put your hard hat on, okay? Because you are about to become a master builder. And for those ladies out there, I like to say mastHER, buildHER, okay? So first of all, in order to bulldoze your brand, the first thing that I have to share with you guys is about being authentic. That is the first tip. You can't build anything if you're not authentic. You can't be that person over there. You can't be that brand over there. You have to be authentically you. Okay? And what does that mean? That means, what is your authentic DNA? And I say this, DNA, what is your DNA code? Being authentic means you have to be true, and people have to know that it's coming from you. You can't take someone else's ingredients and think it's going to taste the same, right? So as you put your hard hat on and you become your own master builder, understand this. The first tip is understanding what your authentic DNA is. DNA stands for developing your natural asset. But if you're ready to level up for 2021, email me right here. All right? So I'll see you guys next week so that we can talk about how to be your own mastHER builder.
Well, welcome back to the show, West Texas. So I'm so lucky to be working with the Emily Chesnut. Okay, she loves yellow. You don't know, loves yellow. So you're going to see lots of pop in all of her design. And we're working on some branding things, some web design, and I can't wait until it's live. I've been able to see her work up close and personal, and she's definitely qualified to be bringing you just tips on interior design. So you can expect to see her the next several weeks. And let's just bring her onto the show. Emily, good morning.
Good morning.
So happy to have you, and for you to just share the different opportunities that there are when it comes to our homes. A lot of us look at the more, what we see everywhere else. But what I like about you is that you're willing to step out of the box and bring things that are different. So for people that don't know, what kind of vibe does Emily Chesnut design? It's not plural. Bring.
My vibe is anything funky, nothing is matchy. I love unique and different custom pieces, just to make everyone's home different, not where you walk in and it feels like your neighbor's house or, my friends have this. I want something different, and I want it to pop whenever you have people over. I want it to be just a wow effect.
Emily, so right before the break, Natalie was talking about how you are the queen of the fireplace. So for those at home looking to brighten up the home and they want to start with the fireplace and the mantle, what do we need to know?
Well, I'm going to be honest. The mantle used to be one of my biggest struggles because men want these huge TVs over their fireplaces. So there wasn't much you could do. You couldn't put a lot of things, as far as decor on the mantle. But now, we've got options of these beautiful TVs that are like a piece of art, and just keep everything on the mantle kind of low and simple and clean. If you want to freshen it up, add some paint, lighten it up. Always you can paint a wood mantle white, black, and then just add your, pops of color. But one of my favorite things right now is to tile up a fireplace and maybe nix the mantle, and have a more linear, modern fireplace there if you're going that far with it, or if you're starting with new construction. But just as far as sprucing it up, it could be as simple as painting the brick on the fireplace to make it look new and fresh.
Well, Emily, I think a fireplace in itself, when you walk in someone's home, that's kind of what pops out to begin with. So I think it's important, you mentioning making it modern or whatever for the men. And so I think you really got to, your fireplace needs to go with your home. You don't want to have a fireplace and then have rustic decor or vice versa. So thank you so much for that. I think that's important to say. And if people do have questions about their specific fireplace, which hopefully they will, how will they get a hold of you? How can they get in touch with you?
They can find me on Facebook or Instagram or call me at 432-631-8780. Feel free to text or call.
Okay, well, coming up next, a lot of changes in the real estate market, and the oil prices and the pandemic have a lot to do with it. So Jeaneen Pruitt, yes, that's right. You heard that name just a bit ago. She is joining the squad, and she is sharing success. She's talking everything you need to know about the real estate market right here in the Basin. But first, here is this week's Tech Tip with Kat.
Good morning. This is Kat with this week's Tech Tip. I'm going to be bringing you a tech tip week after week, and I look forward to these. So I know a lot of you out there are thinking, I have a small business, technology doesn't really apply in the platforms that you're talking about, but it applies for everybody. And this week, I want to take a moment to talk about CPaaS. CPaaS stands for Communication Platform as a Service. And when you think about CPaaS, think about when you go to the dentist and you set up an appointment and you get a reminder. So it'll say, hey, go through, click C to confirm, or, no, and then it'll send you a follow-up text. Well, for your small business, this is a great option while the holidays are coming up to talk about sales and to just stay in touch with your clients. Just to let you know a few of the facts, there's a 98% open rate on text messages. There's a 95% read rate, a 75% engagement rate, and a 45% response rate. And whether you end up getting one hosted phone seat and getting CPaaS or getting more, there's several providers that can help you with. And this is a great way to increase your customer service. This is Kat with this week's Tech Tip.
Today, I want to talk to you about the effects of the pandemic and the negative oil prices and just overall things in our community that we're seeing that we never thought we would see. I think we can all agree the pandemic has affected everything, certainly the housing market. Statistics as of today, just pulled them up for us. We've got 744 homes on the market. 294 are under contract. Our average days on the market has increased to about 83 days. So what does that mean? It means homes are still selling, they're taking a bit longer. So when we put your home on the market, you got to be a little more patient and be prepared for the long haul. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint right now. The other thing I would say that's really important is condition. When a buyer nowadays may have 20 homes to go look at versus 3 or 4, it has to smell nice, that home's got to sparkle. They need to fall in love from the curb all the way to the alley. It's an emotional reaction that a buyer has to a home that chooses your home to pull the trigger and buy it. And at the end of an exhausting day when they may have seen 10, 15 homes, they all run together. So special things, back to old school 101, smelling good, cookies, music playing. Christmas music would be awesome this time of year. That's going to actually touch the 5 senses, right? So when a buyer comes in the house, they go, oh, that's the one that had the cookies, or that's the one that has the Christmas music, or that's the one where they let the sweet note and the bowl of candy, or whatever it might be. Those are the things we need. We're gonna have to work a little harder, and also I think price it more competitively. Some things are selling within a few days, some things are taking longer. Overall, I'm seeing about a 10% drop in prices. Of course, that's not every house in Midland, but as a pool, probably gonna sell a little faster because we're all having staycations at our home, which is where I'm at today. Anyway, the other thing I was gonna tell you about exciting news. I'm excited to share with you that this is my 20th anniversary selling real estate. That is pretty significant for me. That's 20 years of helping very important clients buy and sell homes. Thousands of sellers and buyers. I've been privileged to help them, and I'm very grateful for that. So I wanted to take a minute and just say thank you. Thank you for an amazing career. Thank you for allowing me to take good care of you and succeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because this is, the holiday where we count our blessings. And I'd like to share a great property we have, 5101 Green Tree Boulevard. It's a beautiful, modern, luxury renovation. It's a townhome on the golf course.